Wee. Wee, 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 wee. All the way, wee, wee, home. Wee, 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 all the way, wee, wee, home. Wee, wee, wee. Why is it doing things like this? There we go. Come on, button. There we go. Is it happening? There it is. Is it happening? Why is it being so weird? Why is it being weird? Hello, weirdness. Are we being weird? There we go. Hi. It took a little bit to come in. How are you? Thanks for liking the live. I see you in here, Matchpoint. A bit. But I never really had you say anything. What's up? What's the deal? I mean, you don't have to say anything, too. Just learning about real estate? Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad you choose me to hang out with. For sure. For sure, for sure. You can always ask questions, too. Boo, 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 boo. And thanks for tapping the screen, too. Oh. Okay, so this is being weird. Alright, I'm all set up. Wee. Is my connection gonna be crazy today? Thank you. I agree. That's why I'm on here. That is why I am on here. And again, not trying to sell a course or some other-ness, you know? I completely agree. Genuine Ostrich, hello! How are you, Egg? Getting settled in? More and more every day. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate you. For sure. New boot to goofin'. Hanging in. Happy Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday for sure. It's Friday night. What is wholesaling? Wholesaling is doing real estate transactions that are geared towards real estate investors like house flippers or landlords. That is the purpose of wholesaling. That is what wholesaling is. Are you interested in real estate? Tell me about yourself. What do you think? What you thinking? I'm mostly working? Sometimes. I mean, also I work all day long too, so then sometimes like I need to decompress a little bit. Just depends, but yes, mostly working. Mostly working for sure. You know? That is Friday night. Not like days like today. It's Friday night. I'm kind of out of steam. being on here, working all day during the day, and then being on here 2 or 3 hours a day. So I take the weekends off from both. Typically, real estate investors don't work on the weekends, so that's a nice part of being in this realm too. It's not like, it's their job, it's their job. They take the weekends off, so, that's a thing. That is a thing, so. Do I invest in any commercial? No, I've done commercial real estate before, but investing myself in commercial, no. And, I like commercial, but there are, it's a different strategy for sure. Whew. I understand it, commercial. I understand commercial, but it's, like I said, it's a different game than the residential investment side. So, and that's how I started, was commercial, but the cycle on those deals is very different than residential. So, not that I'm opposed to it, but I like the rapid action. A lot of time investment in commercial, big time component, because they're larger deals, more complex, a lot more analysis. So it's not like I'm scared of doing that work. It's just a matter of volume versus, if you want to sell a house that's haunted, it depends on, actually, Red Bean, it depends on what state, if the house is haunted. There are some states that do require disclosure. So, of that. Worked in a brokerage, CBRE, for one of the top 5 teams in the nation, finance guy. In the finance guy, CBRE. They're the green people, yep. Yeah. See the logo? Yes. Acronyms are tough in real estate, you know what I mean? They're all acronym, but yes, logo. I feel you. I recognize that, but yeah. Generic acronyms, but yes, the logo I see and recognize for sure. Boo. That's cool. How long? You said you worked previously. How long did you do that? So, like I said too, I understand that experience. Of course, it wasn't that at the same scale, obviously, as you did, but. And what's the path forward now? Bam. 15 years. Woo! Goodness, that's a lot of experience. That is a lot of experience for sure. Lots of experience. So, like, did you retire or just wanted to switch it up? Switch it up. And what kind of commercial did you guys, because commercial is also a pretty broad field, right? So, taking a break, figuring it out, that's fair. I get that too. Like commercial office space, retail space, residential, commercial. Did you have office industrial? Okay. Office industrial. I mean, office is certainly interesting, right? Office is certainly interesting thing in the last few years. Definitely. Post-COVID. So, We did buyer rep nationally, all property types, mostly retail, industrial is what folks wanted. Yeah. Like I was just getting at, office is hard in the last few years for sure. Retail is always necessary, but again, there's certain aspects of that are changing, and that industrial is industrial for sure. That's always going to have a need. It's funny. I actually just driving past Costco today, even seeing Party City inside of a Staples now, and again, Macy's did the same thing with Toys R Us inside of Macy's. Even that shape in commercial retail space is kind of interesting pivot. So just from my own observations and driving by Staples at Costco today, so definitely interesting things going on in the commercial space. But at the same time, there's still always a need. There's still a need for the spaces of Staples. And again, industrial doesn't really change, so. Suburban office in a great market. Yeah. I feel that. Redeveloped. Yeah. It's interesting, too. There was something I saw, too. Well, there's a guy that comes in and does a lot of assisted living in the commercial space. I don't know if you've seen him, Sonny, but... yeah. And they're talking about converting malls at one point. They're talking about converting malls into assisted living. Like, again, there's lots of changes in the commercial space that are super interesting. But also like converting things, large retail spaces converting into residential. Just it's lots of changes for sure. Yeah. Lots of changes that are interesting. Things to watch and see going on in the landscape. At the same time, too, like office to resi conversions are really expensive. Yeah, that's true. I am a realtor, Krim. Am I still an active agent? Yep. For sure. Hi, Ghost. How are you? Yep. So, I do mostly wholesale. Real estate, but I am still active. For sure. Keep my license, keep paying MLS, keep paying NAR, all that good stuff. Gives me lots of tools that I like. All that good stuff. For sure. What states do I have properties in? Just Florida right now. I'm planning on getting started on Texas, Dallas market here soon in the next month or two. What about you, Anthony? What's your deal? Happy to answer questions about myself too, but also, if so, it's poopalicious. I don't know. I think something else came out. I think something else was filtered. I think one of your other comments was filtered because all I got was, if so, it's poopalicious. So something you said got filtered automatically. Where am I located? I am in Fort Myers, Florida. You're in Florida. Insurance. Interesting. Well, as far as insurance goes, a lot of times I do investment real estate, like with house flippers and stuff like that. So a lot of times builder's risk policies are really the only thing that I'm actually having most people do. And a lot of times the hard money loans that require builder's risk are typically kind of locked in with the hard money lenders. So looking to buy my first home in Wisconsin. Any first time buyer tips? So first time buyer, definitely find a mortgage lender, independent mortgage lender that has experience and first time buyer programs for sure. For sure. I primarily wholesale locally. I have a big push about in-person presence, because I believe better conversions happen at the door at the property. So big. I did some virtual stuff, acquisitions stuff for a while, and it's just, I don't particularly like it because it just feels like I started from scratch every single time I got a deal somewhere, right? I got to find new relationships. I got to find new title companies. Got to find people on boots on the ground. I had a deal in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where the cell phone got cut off of the seller before closing, and I had to DoorDash them in order to just have the DoorDasher hand the phone to them so I could have a conversation about going to closing. Also, inspection, your buyer and seller getting together without any intervention is also kind of a pain point too. So I do believe in having a physical in-person presence, wholesaling, for sure. I think it's a big, helpful thing to make the process go along better. Long answer, but I really do believe in it, which is why I go on rants about it. So, nerfing. Yep, DoorDash. Yep, DoorDash. Tipped him $50 too. Nerfing. Nerf. I mean, I still tell the sellers what I'm doing. It's not a big deal. It's not nerfing. You can still do it transparently. So it's not nerfed. You just gotta get your skills up. So you use AI to send out offers. Okay. That's annoying sometimes, but okay. Low-key smart. Yeah, I mean, when you don't have any other options, the phone ain't ringing. Email, at the same time, internet connections in the pocket most of the time. So, no way to contact and closing's happening. That's, what else do you do? So, Lindsay, I'm planning to go to DFW. I'm in Florida now, but I'm planning to go to DFW. I'm gonna follow you. I need to get my license there. I have my license in Florida now. I'm getting my Texas license, all that good stuff. But I want to do some flipping in DFW. I'm gonna start wholesaling in DFW. So DFW is sticking out hard. What's your deal? Interested to know. Yeah, and I've had people like, I don't know. I've also heard some people like say instead of DoorDash, they've used like mobile notaries and stuff like that, but it's still like $150. It's still a little bit more expensive than sending DoorDash. How do you find buyers, Ed? You start with your property. My clients for investors. Thank you for liking the live. I appreciate that. So you start by having a contract on a property, having a property for sale. You search in the radius of your contract property, because if someone's flipped a house or is a landlord in the immediate vicinity of your subject property, most likely they've had some success, right? They had success in the flip, or they had success in being a landlord. So your comps can be your buyers, and landlords in the area can be your buyers. So search through your comps in immediate vicinity. That's where the buyers are. That's where the best buyers are, for sure. Fix and flips? Nice. Very cool. What's your brokerage like? Dallas is where it is. Exactly, I know it is. Dallas is the mecca. That's why I know to go to Dallas, so I totally get it. That's the whole reason. I totally agree with you, Lindsay. I totally get it. Again, thank you guys for tapping the live. I do greatly appreciate it. I do totally. And thank you for the follow, too. My goodness. All the love. So, Al, Overall, how hard is it to get your license? It's not too bad. You need some good wholesalers too? I agree. Thank you for the follow, Lindsay. So I have a link in my bio for Colibri. I use Colibri to get my license in Florida. I'm going to use Colibri to get my license in Texas here in the near future. I like them a lot. I do all my continuing education with them. And I failed my license the first time. Thank you for the follow. And I got flashcards from Colibri. And then I passed the second time. So I'm a big believer in Colibri, which is why I have their link in my bio. So, you know, that's me. What's me, Craig? What's you, Craig? What is you? Cool, thanks for the info. Yeah, but, you know, I failed mostly. So at the time I was going back and forth between, I live in Florida. I was going back and forth between North Carolina and Florida. You know, had an office in North Carolina and here, and I was going back and forth and going back and forth. So I drove 12 hours that day, and I was tired, and I didn't study. So that's, I mean, not to say it was too hard that I failed the first time either. Like, don't get discouraged from my failure the first time. I didn't set myself up real good to pass on the first time, which I recognize. So you're from North Carolina too. Very cool. I went to high school in Greensboro, and then I went to East Carolina University. I made a new friend. I think I made a new friend, Lindsay. I think we could be friends. I think I made a new friend today already. How exciting. Woo woo woo. Whoop woo. Whoop woo. Awesome. Off to a great start on the live. Ashboro. Oh, cool. Very cool. Very, very cool. Very cool. Yeah, so I went to Page in Greensboro. Page High School. So I started as a pirate at Page High School, and then I ended up as a pirate at ECU. Stayed a pirate. What's the biggest real estate sale? So I do wholesale real estate, and the largest fee that I ever did as a wholesaler was $122,000. Is there such thing as fake estate? Not yet. I think there's like some, you know, virtual estate happening. Like, you know, I don't know. I'm not too familiar with that, but, you know, I think you can buy virtual real estate, maybe. That's kind of a thing. I haven't really researched that too much, but I understand that can be a thing, I suppose. It's a small world after all. Well, I think the TikTok algorithm does a good job too. So. For sure. What's your deal, Al? You wanting to get started, get your license? What state are you in, Al? Let me know when you're Dallas. I sure will, Lindsay. I sure will. Thanks for coming by and sharing. But absolutely. What brokerage are you at? Again, I haven't even started that, but... Where do I hang my license? What do you think? Realty of America? Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Wow. Very cool. Very cool. Interesting. They have a lot of offices. Whee! Yeah. Texas is definitely a much better market for sure. Not that Florida's bad, but honestly, I found that it really truly is a little bit. Any tips on scaling after getting your first deal? I would say do 2 or 3, make it repeatable first, and then scale from there. Because 2 or 3 lets you know what works for real. I'm glad you're doing well, Mark. Everything's bigger in Texas? Ha! Yeah, for sure. You know? Hi, Asa, how are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. But Mark, you got your first deal. Good on you. Good on you, Mark, for sure. Again, make it 2-3. I've been good too. And you learn how to stop a foreclosure. Man, you're getting on it, man. There you go. There you go. Good to hear. I like it. Do 2-3. And then figure out the best points of each of those deals and just build on that. Build on it. You know? Because I can tell you stuff, you know. I can tell you stuff to scale and all that good stuff, but I think you can see it. I think you'll be able to see too. You know, I believe in you. I believe in you, so you should believe in your own sense of what should be done. You did it. You know? You did a deal. You did the things. You stopped the foreclosure. Found the buyer. So, you're doing the right things. Why wholesale versus list a house for sale if you're an agent? Well, I think that's a great question. There's just some houses that don't belong on the MLS. There's some houses that don't belong on the MLS for sure. It's just, you know, MLS is just marketing to, yes, MLS markets to investors too, but the main, in my mind, the main majority of the MLS is going to be regular retail consumers, and a lot of these deals just don't even qualify for regular retail financing. Like, so you're on a, basically listing on MLS, you're on a platform where you're probably like shouting at 3% of people. The multiple listing service, like everything that powers like MLS, multiple listing service. So like Zillow, MLS powers Zillow and Redfin and Realtor.com. All the information comes from MLS and is fed to those types of websites. So you know, and there's just a weird mentality on investors too, of if a house is on the market, then they expect to get, as an investor, expect to get some discount off the MLS too. So I don't know. They want an off market. There's like they think they're getting a deal because it's off the MLS. Like, just the scarcity of it portion makes them feel like they're getting a good deal. So, do I cold call? I do mostly wholesale real estate, Adam, and I have acquisitions team that does the cold calling for me, and I kind of jump in when they get stuck, and like basically they will 3-way me into conversations when things get weird. So, you ever make more than you would? Yeah, match point. Definitely make more than you on. That's why I wholesale, because also, you know, you're doing a lot of work in these, like, these deals are complex. Like Mark's saying, he had to stop the foreclosure on a deal, right? There's a lot that goes into these, and so you need to be compensated in order to do that too, right? It's a lot of stuff. These are complicated code violations, HOA violations, like probates and foreclosures, and like you're doing all sorts of stuff other than just throwing it up on the MLS too. So yes. So again, I have a VA that just does property research because the accurate data is not accurate, and I have a property research VA that just specifically data validates off of court records and property records. So I get that mark for sure. And Zillow is good on comps too. I'm licensed, so I have a lot of MLS tools to help me comp, but yep. So I agree on all those things. I agree on all those things for sure. But there's a lot of work involved in wholesaling deals. So, and it's just a time value of money, right? So, same day, Adam. I do dispo to deals, contract to close. I've dispoed things, like got buyers same day several times. A bit tedious. PSA, borrower authorization, proof of funds, and HUD to postpone it. Yep, you sure do. Yep. I agree. I stopped foreclosures quite a bit. Actually, a couple weeks ago, I actually stopped one like 10 minutes past the start of the auction. I'd never done that before until a couple weeks ago. That was wild. That was a nail biter. I was like, auction started, and I was like, oh god, why haven't they done that? Stopped it yet? And then like 10 minutes into the auction cycle running, they finally took it off the block, and I was like, oh god, I never done one like that. That was the first time a couple weeks ago that I did that, but that was woof. Again, a nail biter on my side, but whatever. How long did it take me to get at that level? A few years for sure. A few years. I mean, not that I didn't have speed before, but like same day, you get a lot of repeat buyers in this too, right? Because this is their business. They're not just buying one house and moving on. It's like if they're a house flipper or a landlord, that's their life. That's their business. That's how they make income. So generally, if you've done a lot of deals with somebody, and I've, 20, I don't know. I've done deals with some people like 10, 20, 30, I don't even know how many sometimes. Certain people, right? You get to a point too where like they don't need to walk your houses anymore. Like I'm good at making sure I take pictures of all the major mechanical things, like plumbing under the sink, tags on electrical boxes, tags on air conditioning, roof planes, all roof planes. So like they can look at my pictures and be like, all right, I've done X number of deals with you. You're legit. You never hidden anything from me. So yeah, let's just sign it up real quick right now. So that's, yeah. To get that built up does take a little bit of time, but it also starts from doing the right thing at the onset too. So yeah, it can take up to 2 weeks, and then, also at the same time, it can take a couple of weeks to stop it, or if there's urgency like an auction, then you have to create urgency to stop it too. So, and it's a pressure point too. I mean, sometimes people in the foreclosure space are they're holding on to the last second of the hope that they're not about to lose their house, and then the day before they're about to lose their house, they're like, okay, I'm really gonna lose my house, so I'll sell it now. And so then you got to be able to actually, they sign your contract the day before the auction, you got to really be able to move on it and secure the deal. I mean, I hate that, and we're normally on them for weeks, be like, hey, this is gonna happen, I don't know what's gonna change between now and the day before auction, but it would really help us out and take a lot of pressure off of us if we can just come to that determination now that this is the path forward. But they just wait to the last minute. And you got to be able to handle that too. So that's the reality of people dealing with people that are in distressed situations. So That's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. What we do. Why we make the money. So. Because we can handle it. You know? You know. Whee! What other thoughts and questions and opinions and do-do-doos are we thinking tonight? It's Friday. Doing anything fun? Are we doing anything fun tonight? Or are we just watching me and learning? Which is also a fun and good answer, too. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Oh, goodness. Let's see. Nothing's happening. And I'm not being very fun. Thank you for the follow, Adam. I appreciate that. Thank you. And I'm gonna look at this. And thank you for tapping the screen too. Follows and tapping the screen brings more people in. Brings some more people into live, and we have more conversations and all that good stuff. You know, learn more things. Just how the algorithms work. Just how the algorithm works. Oh, that's good. What about this up here? Is this good? Is this good? This is good too, right? That is good. All right. What should I do? What should I do right now for fun? Should I look at some deals? I should look at some deals. Why not? I have been logged off for inactivity. I should log back in, huh? Whee! Let's look at some foreclosure auctions. Since we were talking about foreclosure auctions, let's look and see if there's anything fun happening in foreclosure offers. What skip tracing software do I use? So, my MLS tools give me skip tracing, and then also my CRM, RE Simply, gives me skip tracing, and I have a link to RE Simply in my bio if you need a CRM. But that keeps it nice and in the file too, all in one place. It's really just like, it's pretty cool. You put the property in and all the information that you need to put in, and then you just click, boop. You know what I mean? And then it skip traces it automatically, which is pretty cool. So I like RE Simply, and it also has lots of other, like it has DocuSign things built into it, and picture links built into it, and lead sourcing stuff. I have my real estate license. Yes, I sure do. NC Top? What's NC Top mean? How are you, Crickman? What's my computer setup? I have my laptop. I have my laptop here, and then I have a huge vertical screen here. And then I have a camera, like a real, I have like a real, whatchamacallit, camera, fancy camera right there. And I got lights and all that good stuff. 30K easy. I don't know if you're sending other stuff that's not coming through, but I got NC Top and 30K easy. Is the only messages that I got from you. So I'm a little confused at what you're saying. So, but yeah, I have this big widescreen monitor here that it's actually vertical layout. So like in the MLS, I can see like full, I don't have to scroll at all, which I really, really like. So I can see everything. I can see everything all in one shot. So I like that. That's a good setup. You know, it's a little unusual. Like you see a lot of like finance people that do it, that like day trade and stuff like that. That kind of a screen arrangement. So what's my largest wholesale deal? My largest was 122,000. and my smallest was 1,200. The 1,200 didn't start off that way, but it got legal, and my legal expenses drew me down to 1,200 for sure. So, but at the end of the day, at least I cleared something. So, $122,000 fee, yes, and then I had a JV partner that put another 80 on top of it, for sure. So I contracted with the seller at 278,000. I contracted. Nope, it was a house. I contracted them at 278,000. We double closed it at 400, and then my JV partner closed it again at 480. Yes. Yep. Yep. It was a very unique situation, surely, but solved a big problem for the guy. He was actually, I don't know if he still is, but he actually was a tunnel engineer, and he was in Switzerland digging tunnels through mountains. And yeah, so we really had to do a lot, like pack the house. Like he had a classic Porsche in the garage, and it wasn't really about the money. It was like, obviously for him, it was about like he just couldn't like functionally handle it from Switzerland. So, and that's how that happened. Again, he trusted us and let us take care of everything. Let us take care of the Porsche, and let us take care of the, all that stuff. And yes, you do. Double close, you need the buyer there with you for sure. Absolutely. Double closes need to happen same day, simultaneously in most cases. Ideally, actually, the buyer closes first, and the title company holds everything until the seller's completed. But ideally, you want the buyer closing first. I didn't see anything. Gowowski ski. It may have filtered your comment, but I don't see. The first comment I've seen from you is just ignore me. So there is an auto filter on commentary. So I don't know what you asked. Not ignoring you. Ask me more creatively to get it past the filter. I'll still answer. You know. So yeah, I'm not ignoring you, for sure. Dude. Yep. Why is the job market so bad? I'm not sure. Yeah, Mark, actually, you must double close in Pennsylvania. Assignments are not allowed in Pennsylvania. Job market's okay? I mean, there's AI. I don't know. People complain about AI ruining the job market and so on, but I don't know. There's some certain types of things. There's some certain types of things where AI can't replace. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, let them do it. They're the title company. So, or you get licensed, right? Or you get licensed for sure. Again, link in my bio to get licensed. So, what type of deals have you done? I mean, like double close novations up to? No, just like cash deals. Just cash deals. Like I have a novation since I'm licensed. I have a novation for somebody else right now, just because I've done a couple of novations, just in weird scenarios. just in weird scenarios. I don't transact any sub-2 deals because I don't want to be tied to those transactions long term. Because, you know, if you do a sub-2 deal, and then the buyer doesn't end up paying the mortgage, who do you think the seller that you transacted that deal goes to when they start getting notifications from the mortgage company that they're past due? They come back to you, and I don't want any part of that. So that's my opinion on that. So I have no interest in that. I mean, I would be a buyer on sub-2 deals, but I also don't see very many sub-2 deals that I actually like and think would cash flow correctly. So well, again, because the original seller is still tied to the mortgage. So in my mind, I'm not out. No. In my mind, I'm not out because I'm, again, just realistically, who do you think that they're going to call if you transacted their sub-2 deal and it goes wrong 2 years later? Who do you think your seller's going to call? They're going to call you, the person that transacted and set this deal up. Yeah. And again, I see sub-2 deals that go through foreclosure because I monitor foreclosure deals. I see them and I take clear steps away from it. I have no interest in even trying to save a deal that was a sub-2 deal in foreclosure because it's just not a good situation. There's way too much complication and yeah. But I see them. They are foreclosing. Sub-2s are foreclosing. And I see them. And again, I want no part of it. I want no part of it. Because again, you start getting foreclosure notices too as a seller that you transacted a sub-2 deal on. They're not going to be happy with you, that's for sure. Putting them in that situation. So, not a happy situation. But yeah, so I don't even want to get involved just as a person to bail them out of foreclosure. Even if I can, I don't want it. Any part of it. Messy, messy, messy. Messy, messy, messy. With sub-2, if it goes wrong, well, sure. But they had a reason for trying to get rid of the house in the first place, right? They don't want the house back. Yes, they get the house back, but they don't want the house. That's why they're trying to get rid of the house. And they, again, I don't know, they sub-2'd their deal so that they could not have a mortgage payment anymore. And now they maybe have another housing payment. So now the deal comes back to them and they have 2 housing payments that they probably can't afford. Because if they could have afforded it, they would have done it and kept it that way in the first place. Yes, 40% for sure is a good minimum. Yeah. So, it comes back to them, but if they still can't keep up the mortgage payment, then that's a huge risk to them, too. Because they're the ones that, at the end of the day, they're the ones that signed the mortgage, right? And they didn't close out the mortgage. They did a sub-2 thing. So they didn't get it off their plate. And nobody really makes that reality known to the seller clearly. And, Like clearly. Like. But also there's no risk to the buyer either if the house doesn't go wrong. Because you gotta think, like, and so I'm seeing foreclosures on sub 2 deals because you have to think in these sub 2 deals, you're using them as rentals typically, right? So the rental market declined in lots of areas. So now as a buyer of a sub 2 deal that you put minimum money into and got minimum cash flow out of, and now the rental rate has gone down and it's not cash flowing anymore, you can just walk away. And the mortgage is not on you. So why wouldn't you walk away? To bail out the seller that signed up to a sub 2 deal? You know, again, like, that's not a good, anyway. It happens, and then they do walk away. And you're surprised about how willing? Yeah. So that's the thing about it, Mark, too, is you can bring them consistent business. Individual homeowners do what? One home sale every few years? You can bring them multiple deals regularly, consistently. In their business. Oh, mortgage company. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the mortgage companies want their money. If they see us as an avenue to get their money. People with money that can get them their money back. Because they weren't getting, especially in the case of foreclosure, they weren't getting it from the last person. So a new person in the mix that can actually get the money is yeah, of course. They're all for that, The banks want their money. Mortgage companies want their money. That's why they're in business, is to get their coins. So you can get them their coins. They're all on board. Definitely. Thanks for liking live. For sure. For sure. Ba-do-ba-do-ba-do. I want them coins. Whoa. Oh. For sure. What else is going on in this chat, live stream, thoughts, questions? I know I went on a poo-poo on sub 2 deals, but again, like I said too, it's not like I'm not against buying a sub 2 deal myself, but transacting them I don't want any interest in. Ooh. Poo-poo. Again, I would only buy a sub 2 deal that I could realistically see made sense long-term financially too. And those I don't see a lot. I don't see a lot of those. So, marginal cash flow in the sub 2 deals. But again, it's more about, on sub 2 deals, it's more about cash on cash return. It's not really about cap rate. Which, again, I get cash on cash returns are definitely a way to look at investments, but it's not the whole picture. Cap rate in general's, cap rate's a more important way to look at deals. Is a balloon offer like a sub 2? No, it's not. Balloon offers is offered by a seller that is in a position to where they can actually take that. So, right. No equity. And even sometimes your negative equity. I've seen some sub-2s that are negative equity too, right? Like negative equity. Like, why would I take on more debt than a property's worth because of the rate and the marginal amount of cash flow? But balloon is typically a seller in a position where they can afford seller financing. Like, they can afford the risk, right? So, you know, if a balloon is structured correctly, yes, then they have the ability to hold the risk of a balloon, and they get the property back, and they can then just offer a balloon again because they have the ability to. Below market rate financing adds value for sure, but balancing the below market rate financing against, it has to equalize. It has to equalize. So, and again, certain investors, if you can, as an investor, for sure, eat potential negative cash flow based on appreciation, that's a completely different story, but it's, again, not the case of what's happening in most of those types of transactions either. A lot of the balancing the exit value, right, against appreciation, against rate, against principal versus interest payments, but that's like not typical thought process. You coming from a CRE mindset can see that, but again, most people that are doing those transactions are not seeing that either. They're thinking about cash on cash returns, and they cannot absorb risk of negative cash flow because, again, they're purely focused on cash on cash return. They're not thinking about overall exit value. Yes, overall exit value sounds nice, but I mean, a lot of times too, in reality, no one's going full 30 years. No one's going full term on these loans either. That's the other part that people don't factor. All of your interest is front loaded, right? You're paying more interest front loaded in a mortgage than you are principal. So yes, like, lower interest at the front load is better, but if you're not going to keep the mortgage to full term, like, if you're calculating a full term difference, if you're calculating this interest savings over the term of 30 years, the reality is they're not going to keep 30 years on those, right? They're not going to keep them 30 years because at some point they're going to, the house is going to appreciate to a point. As an investor, at some point the house is going to appreciate, hopefully, realistically, to where it would make sense for you to refinance and pull some money out in order to purchase additional properties, use your leverage. So then, therefore, your interest savings is not even full term. So average monthly insurance premium on a manufactured home, that is really based on location, all sorts of stuff, right? So I cannot answer. That is not enough information to answer that question. So it varies all the way down to the county. So I have a sub 2 in Vegas, 5K to control 250K asset. Yes, cash on cash return is excellent on those deals. Right. How are you, Credit Poppy? Good to see you. Vegas. Do. Bow. Wow, what's up? Neggity eggity. For sure. house through the foreclosure list right now. So, are you taking it on yourself, or are you trying to find a buyer, Credit Poppy? What's your exit? Do, 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 do. What's the exit? This deal, negative equity, negative equity. Not negative equity. Do, do, do. Already in the system. I wonder why this is maybe directionally at me. So my primary markets, because it sounds like I am my primary market's Florida and Massachusetts. I live in Florida. My business partner lives in Massachusetts. I am planning on splitting my time between Florida and Dallas, so Dallas will also become a big primary target, but we also operate Texas, Georgia, and North Carolina. So, and then I help JV nationally. Dispositions, selling deals I can do nationally. There's a link in my bio for that. But the acquisition side, in my mind, is tougher. So, only 60K balance. Oh, kept it in pad split. Nice. Taking out 30, 50K-ish. Ooh, yeah. You got some equity. See, that's hard. So you got some equity. There's not a ton of deals that I see that they have equity in combo with everything else too. So that's a game changer. That is a game changer in the grand scheme of things. Game changer. But you're leveling up, Credit Poppy. Adding more things to the system. This is still on the... Oh my gosh. It's funny, this is the one that... Wow. He didn't notice a trustee sale. Oh, from HOA? Yeah. I normally don't do the HOA sales, but I don't know. It is a good pressure point for sure, but... I get it. It's a good for the sellers, but a lot of times they just don't actually end up with anything. So, but yeah, so I don't see a lot of sub 2 creative, whatever you want to call them, deals where they have equity. I think that's kind of important. They've all been random. Yeah, they all are random. That's one thing you gotta vibe in. You gotta vibe in the randomness. You know? There's just tons of scenarios that exist. You want more consistent and low-hanging wholesale fruits? Yeah, don't we all? There's tons of scenarios that can bring somebody into needing a wholesale exit as a seller. You know? It's just the reality. It's just the reality. So, and we just gotta live. You gotta live in that space. In my mind. And it's interesting, you know, because people ask me too. People ask me like, well, you know, what's the best lead source? It's all of them. Like, you know, you gotta play with all of them. For sure. They come from everywhere. Good ones come from everywhere. I've been everywhere. Huh? Everywhere. Everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. Do do do. Wee. Woo. Dang, dang, dang. Wild. What do you think the low-hanging wholesale fruits are? What's your take, Credit Poppy? Well, 2.5. Okay. I don't know. Definitely foreclosures, trustee sales, even if they're HOAs, I guess would be my answer. Is my consistent answer, for sure. For sure, for sure. For sure, for sure. I think playing with mic placement too. Playing with mic's placement too. Sorry about that. I think I might be getting a little weird feedback. My mic's been weird the last few days. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, 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 wow. Dang. Nope, don't like that. Don't like that deal. Not enough equity in that one. Whee. Negative equity. Not enough equity. Easy scroll through. Ooh, equity. We like equity. We like equity for sure. Let's do it. We like equity. Throw it in there. Weep. Ba-dunk. You want to get the more consistent? Oh, that's an old comment. I don't know. In my brain, I was like, ooh, new comment. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Nope, 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 nope. Yeah. Absentee. Yeah. It's curious. Absentee is curious in my mind, too. Because, like, why are you even owning it if it's absentee? It's completely vacant. I don't even get how someone goes about that. They just don't want to deal with it, really. I don't know. That puzzles me. But hey. Good source for sure. It's a source for sure. It is a source. Indeed, indeed. Boo. 165. What's that math? No. Not enough equity. Ooh, no value. No. Let's check it. Why isn't you providing me a value? What does it think? $332. $332. Nope, no equity. No equity. Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo. Bump. Bump, bump. Earl. Bump Earl. With his negative equity situation. We don't want Earl's negative equity. 2, 7, 4, 2, no. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Hi, Vix. Can you run me down on what phone calls look like to a possible buyers on a buyer's list on a land deal? So you're trying to talk to buyers about a piece of land that you have. Well, do you know what new construction homes are selling for in the area? That's a good place to start as you're doing that. Like, match it to that. So, hey, I have this piece of land for X, 250. Okay, so you know the answer. New constructions are selling 250 to 300 in this area. I have this piece of land for X. Price per square foot to build is X in this area, so your margin should be somewhere in the 60 to 70% range for a builder to have a successful new construction. So that is the conversation. That's it's pretty simple. Like, I have this piece of land for the X plus your X cost to build on similar margins. Yep. Because builders are just in the business of, that's the business, is building houses and selling them for a profit with a margin. Ensure that their margin is intact with your deal, and that is. And I don't know what their price is per square foot. I have a conversation around what is your price per square foot to build right now. Okay. Oh, so you're not 100 square foot price per square. You're at $125 price per square foot. Okay, so my land plus cost to build the 250 to 300 houses was sold construction, again, focus price per square on what those 250 to 300 comps are. Ours is sold maybe in the 150, 180 range, right? So you can even break down your margin in price per square. It's typically how builders look, at things like that. Yeah. Yep, that's how I would have those conversations. Those are, land deals are pretty simple, right? Because it's not like in a fix and flip with an existing house too. It's not like, do I have to do the roof or don't I have to do the roof? And selling land and new construction opportunities, you got to do everything. You got to do everything. So you got to do all the things. Build a whole house, and if you're a builder, then you know what it's going to cost you price per square to build a whole entire house. So it kind of simplifies the process, and there's not much more to talk about in it than that. I guess they're gonna worry if there's any buildable concern features on the lot, like I don't know, like is the soil soft here or whatever, and all that good stuff. But they'll probably have questions around that. And it just depends on if the seller provided you that information or not. Because if the seller didn't provide you the information, then you don't have that information to provide to them, and it would be their responsibility as the buyer to determine suitability of the lot to build things on. So That's really the entirety of a conversation on land. Or financing too, if they have the financing. If, I don't know if you have any builder lending connections. I have a link in my bio where you can submit someone for assistance with lending. I have somebody that does new build lending, so. Whoops, you thought I was a pastor. Just out here preaching. I am preaching, just preaching about investment real estate. No need to be sorry. Do. Wonder what this is doing. Hold on. Sign in. Ball. Wee. Verifying it's me. It is me. Take my thumbprint. Do. Beep. Let's see. Perfect. That worked. Alrighty, so let's move to do on the next thing. This does not have enough equity. Moving on. It's Friday. Here we go. 338. That's negative equity. To move past that one. Nope. Not that one either. Don't like that deal. That looks real bad. 3, nope. Right at your mortgage balance. Negative equity. Negative equity. 4, 5, negative equity. Lots of houses in negative equity. Wild. Crazy. Not crazy, but just wild. Negative equity. No. Boop. Bam. Moving. Felicia is also. Felicia is. You know what? I'm just gonna end it. I'm kind of over this.